Will Bilkis Bano never get justice, even if the Supreme Court hears review petitions against the decision to release the 11 men who raped her mother, and killed her child? There is a new twist. Our investigation reveals that the men who did this have in fact gone missing. From the ground, our team knocked on doors, went to the homes of at least 7 convicts. The released convicts' families, neighbors all said the same thing. The men are not in residence. Some said they left town and gone to the village. Others said, Pata hi nahi kahan gaye. And still others confirmed, especially in the neighborhood, that they had not even seen these men for the last few days. This is raising doubts about whether these convicts will be traceable, even if the Supreme Court were to decide to send them back to prison. This is a new twist in a story that has outraged the country. Will there be no justice for Bilkis Bano? That is the question we place before you and our panel this evening, a special Mojo Story investigation. Let me introduce our speakers today. We're joined by Shobha Gupta. Shobha Gupta has been a lawyer for Bilkis Bano for many, many years, stood shoulder to shoulder with her, and first expressed this apprehension that exactly this would happen, that the released convicts would go missing, and in fact, her words have come true. We're also joined by the lawyer for the convicts, Rishi Malhotra. Rishi Malhotra told our colleagues that the men are not untraceable. There's no need for them to go missing, and they will be traced as and when, or should the court require it. But our experience on the ground actually provides a very different kind of evidence. And also joining us is Zakia Soman. She's, of course, a rights activist who led the fight to read down triple talaq and has been a long-standing advocate for the rights of Muslim women. Thank you, all three of you. We hope Subhashini Ali, who's one of the petitioners in the Supreme Court, will also be able to join us. But before I get comments from any of you, the evidence on the ground speaks for itself. This is our investigation that shows that these released convicts in the Bilkis Bano case have gone underground, have gone missing. Watch our special.
नमस्कार, मेरा नाम है आशीष रमोला और आप देख रहे हैं मोजो स्टोरी। इस समय हम गुजरात के दाऊद डिस्ट्रिक्ट में हैं और दाऊद डिस्ट्रिक्ट के अंदर एक छोटा सा कस्बा आता है रंदीकपुर। रंदीकपुर में मैं आपको बता दूं कि जो 11 बिल्किस बानो केस में जो 11 दोषियों को सज़ा हुई थी उनको रिहा कर दिया गया। गुजरात गवर्नमेंट ने एक पैनल बनाया, उस पर उनको रिहा कर दिया गया। तो हम जानना चाह रहे थे कि वो 11 दोषी इस समय हैं कहाँ। तो आप मेरे पीछे देख सकते हैं, जैसे एक राधे श्याम जी का घर है और एक मिथिलेश और शैलेश भट्ट का घर है। मिथिलेश और शैलेश इस समय घर पर नहीं हैं, बता दें, और घर पे ताला लगा हुआ है। उसके बाद हमने राधे श्याम की फैमिली से बात करने की कोशिश की, जिसमें उन्होंने बताया कि राधे श्याम इस समय राजस्थान में हैं और वो किसी यात्रा पे गए हैं और कब तक वापस आएंगे ये अभी तक मालूम नहीं है। तो आइए सुनते हैं उनकी फैमिली ने क्या कहा। राधे श्याम जी हैं क्या?
नहीं है।
कहाँ गए?
बाहर है।
अब मिलते नहीं है क्या?
ना, आप नहीं
उनसे बात करनी थी थोड़ा।
हाँ भाभी आई था ना,
कहाँ गए हैं?
બહાર રાજસ્થાન।
कोई नहीं મળે, પેલા એના પાપા भी નથી, ये भी बाहर છે।
कोई नहीं है?
कोई भी नहीं है, बच्चे ने मैं अकेली हूँ।
जैसा कि आपने राधे श्याम की फैमिली को सुना और उन्होंने बताया कि वो इस समय राजस्थान में हैं और आगे कुछ बताने से उन्होंने मना कर दिया कि वो कब तक लौटेंगे या नहीं। इसी तरह जो बाकी बचे दोषी हैं, हम उनके घर भी जाएंगे और जानने की कोशिश करेंगे वो लोग इस समय कहाँ हैं या फिर वो रंदीकपुर में हैं या नहीं हैं। यात्रा पे? हाँ। ये कहाँ पे? तो कब आएंगे? पता नहीं। और बरखा भाई?
ये
दोनों जाते हैं क्या?
हाँ।
तो कब गए थे? बात करना था। आप बता दो भैया, बात करेंगे। मैं तो मेहमान हूँ।
इतने मेहमान हूँ।
अच्छा, आपको पता है? आप कौन हैं उनकी? माता जी?
हाँ।
प्रवास गए हैं, मतलब अभी पता नहीं कब तक आएंगे। बिल्किस बानो केस में 11 जो दोषी हैं उनमें से दो दोषी केसर भाई और बाका भाई हैं, जो कि दोनों भाई हैं। और आप मेरे पीछे उनका घर देख सकते हैं, लेकिन ये लोग घर पे भी मौजूद नहीं हैं। जब हमने इनकी माताजी से बात करी तो उन्होंने बताया कि ये लोग प्रवास पे गए हैं, यानी कि यात्रा पे गए हैं और पता नहीं कब तक लौटेंगे, और उनके पास भी कोई सटीक जानकारी उपलब्ध नहीं है। वो है ही नहीं यहाँ पे।
नहीं,
कहाँ गए?
कहीं भी जा सकते हो ना, नहीं जा सकते क्या?
बिल्कुल जा सकते। तो पूछ रहा हूँ सर आपसे,
नहीं, घर पे नहीं।
वो कब तक आएंगे?
जब आएंगे हम बता देंगे।
दोनों भाई जा रहे हैं।
हाँ, आए अभी बहुत साल बाद आए हैं तो कुछ जाएंगे।
काम कर रहे हैं?
क्या काम करेंगे? अभी तो आए हैं तो कुछ यात्रा वात्रा करेंगे, क्या काम करेंगे?
बिल्किस बानो केस में जो 11 लोग रिहा होके आए हैं, उनमें से 2 लोग जसवंत नाई और गोविंद नाई हैं, जो आपस में रिश्तेदार हैं और भाई भी हैं। और ये आप मेरे पीछे उनका घर देख सकते हैं। वो लोग इस समय घर पे नहीं हैं। हमने उनके घर वालों से बात करी तो उसमें पता चला कि ये लोग कहीं बाहर गए हैं और काफ़ी दिन हो गए हैं घर पे नहीं हैं। तो देखने वाली बात ये होगी, क्योंकि मामला सुप्रीम कोर्ट में है और सुप्रीम कोर्ट इसकी सुनवाई कर रहा है। आगे भी आने वाले दिनों में सुप्रीम कोर्ट इसकी सुनवाई करेगा। तो अगर मान लीजिए ये फैसला जो गुजरात गवर्नमेंट ने लिया इनकी रिहाई का, अगर ये इसको सुप्रीम कोर्ट गलत ठहराता है, तो जब इनको दोबारा पकड़ने के लिए पुलिस जाएगी तो क्या ये लोग घर पे मिल पाएंगे?
अपेरेंटली सारे एक्यूज वहां से चले गए हैं, शिफ्ट कर दिया है। र्यूमर्स है कि शायद वो लोग गांव में नहीं या कहीं और चले गए हैं। कितने दिन के लिए गए हैं, एक्चुअली गए हैं या नहीं गए हैं तो कहाँ गए गए कुछ नहीं पता है हमें। किसने शिफ्ट किया है, क्यों शिफ्ट किया है, र्यूमर्स हैं। र्यूमर्स का मैं कुछ भी नहीं कह सकती हूँ। ऐसा मेरे पास कोई ऑथेंटिक नहीं है कि जिसकी वजह से मैं कह पाऊँ हाँ ये करेक्ट न्यूज है। जैसा आप कह रहे हैं आपने र्यूमर सुनी, मैंने भी र्यूमर ही सुनी।
बिल्किस बानो की लॉयर शोभा गुप्ता ने जब हमसे बात की और एक कंसर्न जताया कि ये जो 11 कॉन्विक्ट्स हैं ये अपने घरों में नहीं हैं, ये कहीं जा चुके हैं या फिर अंडरग्राउंड हो चुके हैं। सर, जब से 11 लोग छूट के आए हैं तब से क्या आप लोगों ने इनको देखा है?
मैं नहीं बोलूँगा, मैंने देखा ही नहीं तो।
अच्छा, लेकिन आप इनको पहले से जानते थे 11 के लोगों को?
जानता था।
कैसा था पहले?
अच्छा था, बढ़िया।
अच्छा, तो अभी राधे श्याम तो बीच में घर पे थे, तो अभी क्या है?
मेरे को मालूम नहीं
है आपको? जितने भी ये बिल्किस बानो केस में 11 लोग रिहा होके आए थे, तो क्या वो अभी इस कस्बे में हैं या फिर कहीं हैं?
नहीं है, कोई भी नहीं है यहाँ पे।
तो आपने कब से नहीं देखा उनको?
वो छूट के आए उसके बाद ही नहीं है यहाँ पे।
अच्छा, तो बात आपके तो जानने वाले होंगे, बात ही होगी कभी, तो क्या बताते हैं कहाँ हैं?
नहीं, वो हम पूछते भी नहीं, बताते भी नहीं, अपना काम से काम रखते।
अच्छा, तो मतलब कोई जानकारी नहीं उनके बारे में? जब से आए हैं तब से देखा ही नहीं है?
नहीं, दिखता नहीं।
तो क्या लगता है कि
मैं सुबह में 7 बजे दुकान खोल देता हूँ, मैं नहीं इसको देखता नहीं, 7 बजे बंद करता हूँ।
तुम दिखते ही नहीं है? दिखते ही नहीं है?
नहीं देखा।
तो क्या लगता है कहीं जा रखे हैं, कहीं यहीं है कि कहीं बाहर हैं?
यहाँ रहते हैं, दिखा देता नहीं तो फिर क्या करना।
अच्छा, मतलब देखा ही नहीं आपने जब से छूट के आए हैं?
हाँ, छुप गए होंगे।
जो 11 लोग छूट के आए हैं, क्या आप लोगों ने उनको देखा अभी तक?
नहीं देखा।
कब से नहीं देखा?
काफी दिनों से।
हमने इन 11 जो दोषी हैं बिल्किस बानो केस में जो रिहा होकर बाहर आ गए हैं, उनके वकील ऋषि मल्होत्रा से बात की और उनका एक वर्जन जानना चाहा कि ये लोग घर पे नहीं हैं, ये क्या अंडरग्राउंड चले गए हैं। क्योंकि हमने फैमिली से भी बात करी है इन कॉन्विक्ट्स की, और ऋषि मल्होत्रा ने हमको साफ तौर पे बताया कि इनको भागने की कोई ज़रूरत नहीं है और ये लोग अंडरग्राउंड नहीं है। ये उनके स्टेटमेंट थे। हमारे जब हमने उनसे रिएक्शन मांगा कि आप इसके बारे में थोड़ा सा हमको बताइए, तो लेकिन जो गेंद है वो सुप्रीम कोर्ट के पाले में है और सुप्रीम कोर्ट ही इस पर डिसाइड करेगा कि आगे इस केस में क्या फ़ैसला लिया जाएगा। मैं आशीष रमोला, मोजो स्टोरी के लिए, गोधरा से।
All right. So what Shobha Gupta called rumors, we have now confirmed with our reporting on the ground. My colleague Ashish actually knocked on 7 doors of 7 convicts of the 11, and in all 7 cases the men were not there. Their family said किसी ने बोला राजस्थान गए हैं, किसी ने बोला गांव गए हैं, किसी ने बोला यात्रा पे गए हैं, and all the neighbors confirmed कि ये पिछले कुछ दिन से नहीं दिखाए पड़े. Please understand the import of what we are saying. Subhashini Ali is with us. She's one of the two petitioners who's asked the Supreme Court to review the Gujarat government's decision to release these men. But if the Supreme Court were to decide that our report is providing an early warning, these men may not be traceable. I just want to get first reactions from Bilkis Bano's lawyer, and then I'll come to the others. I know Subhashini, you're in a car, but Shobha has to leave, so we'll get first comments from her. Shobha ji, jo aapne rumor kaha, I think we've proved it with our reporting. What are your comments now?
What comments? Let's see the progress day by day. No words. I am saying right from beginning, where are we leading to? We have opened up something we do not know. I'm hoping that once they are required under law to be traced and to be sent back, they are available to the state machineries to be taken into custody if need be so. I'm just hoping, I'm assuming my friend said they need not to run away and they have not run away. That is coming true. That would come true. This is what, as a law-abiding citizen myself and as a lawyer and expecting everybody to follow law, I would continue to hope that they would be available to the machineries, to the functionaries when they need to be taken into care.
You are saying you're hopeful, and that the lawyer of the convicts, Mr. Malhotra, who's here, has given us these assurance that these men do not need to go underground. I have to say, with respect to Mr. Malhotra, I am less hopeful. The fact that 7 out of these 11 homes, Shobha ji, कोई नहीं है, या ताला लगा हुआ है, या लोग कहते हैं पता नहीं कहाँ है. And of course, let me add that legally there is no bar on the movement of these men. They are free men in the eyes of the law. They could leave the country if they want to. They could go and settle in Dubai if they want to. They could go and live in Tamil Nadu if they want to. Isn't that right? Legally, there is nothing stopping them. They don't actually have to remain in residence. And we have proven that they are not in residence, Shobha Gupta.
Don't give them the hint, please. Like, I don't want them to really leave for Dubai. And hope they are not leaving country and they're not allowed to leave the country. And you are actually, pressing the alarm bell.
I am pressing the alarm bell because on ground our reporter has not found them in their towns. वो already छोड़ के जा चुके हैं जहां भी उनको जाना था, और वो फ्री आदमी है, वो कहीं भी जा सकते हैं.
Yeah, I like what you are right now addressing is something, honestly tell you, Barkha ji, I am in, tizzy now, like, oh my God, is it going to happen? And I wish, matter is now showing for 9th of September, the two petitions with Subhashini ji and the other one, I believe two of them or one of them, my staff was just telling me, is being shown in advance list on 9th of September. So then I would be begging of the PIL petitioners, please pray for some interim orders. Something of that sort should not happen. Like to be allowed to leave the country when the highest court of the country is sitting over the matter.
Yeah.
Though, yes, legally they are free birds. There is no caveat, there is no limitation, and we do not know, Barkha ji, what are the conditions of the remission order, honestly. Yes. None of us know when the remission has been granted. Is there any condition for them to report to the concerned police station or something? We have no idea. If my learned friend has an idea, I do not know. But honestly and unfortunately, till date, we do not have an idea. We are trying our best to get the remission order. We have got nothing. We have applied in RTI. We have applied physically. We have sent the registered post. We are trying our bit. We have sent reminders. So we do not know the conditions, if any, but that would be something, very alarming. If that
and
is
you are saying, Bilkis Bano has not been shown the remission order, so she has no idea what the caveats, the conditions, the rules, kuch hai bhi ya nahi. None of us know.
Nothing.
Okay, I'm going to open this up, Shobha. I know you have to leave. Stay as long. Yeah, just one last comment from you. How would you describe your emotion at a ground report that shows these men are not at home and have not been?
I was honestly very disturbed when Ashish was talking to me yesterday, and I said, these are rumors only. I have no confirmation. But unfortunately, he has given the confirmation also. And
Yeah.
that is so disturbing. So disturbing. Her concerns, our concerns about safety were there, are there. But it's so very unfortunate to listen that despite the fact when the highest court of the country is sitting over the matter, and some development of this nature can take place. It's
All right.
it's really, really disturbing.
It is
Very
very
painful.
disturbing. It's very painful, and I'm sorry to be cynical, but I think unless the Supreme Court makes some immediate sort of caveat that these men should be found and kept in residence, but of course, legally, I'm sure Rishi Malhotra would argue that there's no bar on them actually moving about. We'll come to him in just a moment. Shobhaji, thank you. Rishi, I'm going to come to you in
Thank you
just
so
a
much.
moment. Thank you, ma'am. I just want Subhashini ji to come in. She's one of the petitioners, along with Mahua Moitra, who's arguing against the release of these convicts. Now, as our exclusive ground reportage shows, these men are missing. I know Rishi Malhotra doesn't want to say they're missing, but they are effectively missing. And I want Subhashini Ali to come in as a petitioner with her responses. Can we get Subhashini? Yeah, Subhashini ji, your thoughts at our report, ma'am.
Well, I've heard what your reporter said from the village and what other people are saying. I can only say that we can only hope that the Supreme Court will undo a terrible injustice that has been done and order that these people go back to jail, these 11 men go back to jail. After that, is the responsibility of the court, is the responsibility of the Gujarat government to see that that happens. It's very difficult for us to say anything. Who are we to say anything? Could we have dreamt 20 days ago that these people would be let out? I mean, we would not have thought that that's possible in a civilized country. Now we are beginning to wonder about what kind of country we are living in, what kind of laws are being followed here, and what is the process of justice that is being implemented in our country. Like Bilkis Bano, all of us are asking the very, very, very tragic question, is this the end of justice? And this is the answer. This has to be answered by the Supreme Court and by the people who are ruling Gujarat. They have to once again inspire us with confidence that it's not the end of justice, that justice will be done, and these people will be punished for the unspeakable crimes
But
that they have committed.
Subhashini, this story or travesty has now moved beyond the release. We have sent
That's what
our
I'm.
colleagues, and these men are not
I've heard,
there. They are not there.
I've heard everything that they've said, and that is not a question for me to answer, Barkha. We are shocked that they were let out in the first place. What kind of justice is this? That people are being tried on the basis of their religion, on the basis of their caste, and not on the basis of the crime that they have committed. This is the very big question that all of us have to now face up to. That today, the system of justice in India is being subverted. The constitution envisages a different system of justice, and up till now we have been somewhat hopeful that that system of justice, that all will be tried according to nature of their crime, will continue. But more and more we are being made aware of the fact that that is not going to happen. We saw in the Hathras case where a Dalit woman was gang raped and she subsequently died, that the entire government machinery, including the chief minister, were interested in protecting the rapists and in saying that the woman was lying and that no rape had occurred. So, in that case, also, the, the crime was being judged on the basis of the caste of the criminals and the caste of the rape victim. Here again, we are seeing that obviously these men were given remission and treated like heroes when they came out of jail because their own belonging to the majority community made them heroes to many who thought that they were fighting some kind of a war against the minority community in which these criminals had behaved like heroes. And so they were given a hero's welcome by some people.
The
So when
BJP
already.
MLA, sorry, I'm going to jump in there. I'm going to jump in there because the BJP MLA, who was one of the 11 on the panel that
Yeah,
recommended the release of
that's
these men,
right.
he called them Sanskaari. He called them Brahmin in
That,
an
no, he
interview
said
to us.
ye
Yeah,
Brahman hai, sanskari hai. So that's what
right.
I'm saying. I'm saying that already the way in which law should be implemented is being subverted in our country. And today, the caste and community of those who are committing the crime and the caste and community of those who are victims of the crime, that is becoming the main basis on which justice is being done. For
Okay.
example, we always
Yeah,
forget,
ma'am,
I
ma'am,
just
ma'am.
want to end here.
Yeah.
I'm just ending
Okay.
here. That the Home Minister of our country, Minister of State for Home, Mr. Misra, his son is an accused having killed 4 Sardars in full view of the entire country. And this man's father is our Minister for Home. And he
Okay.
has
Let
gone to his village and talked about the fact that his son is innocent and so on and so forth. So
I want to come
already we
back.
are seeing major subversion of the justice system in our country.
Okay,
Maybe we
please
are going
stand
to see
by.
even worse things
More.
ahead. Who knows?
Okay, okay. You are cynical. Shobha is still cautiously hopeful. We must bring in Rishi Malhotra now. He's a lawyer for the convicts. He has insisted in his comments to us that there is no need for these men to go underground. But Rishi ji, my colleague was on the ground. As I said, he knocked on 7 doors. सातों के साथ केस में वो नहीं थे मौजूद. The other thing is, I preface my question to you by acknowledging that legally there's no bar on them. They are free men in the eyes of the law. So they are not breaking the law by actually roaming around, going to the village, even going abroad. But the question arises, there are 2 review petitions. And if the review petitions ask the Supreme Court to reconsider the decision to release them, but the Supreme Court didn't put any condition that these men should not leave town and so on. Now the concern that the Bilkis team, the petitioners have is, ये लोग भाग गए हैं. What would you say as their lawyer, Mr. Malhotra?
Surely. You see, I've never seen in my legal career such a speculative petition which has been filed in Supreme Court. I'll come to that also. And I have never seen any debate for last 2 weeks. I've been participating in each and every debate where the only things which have been talked about is ifs and buts. There is no legal concrete thing which we are talking all about. Now, talking about why I am saying so, that it was a speculative petition which was filed by Subhashini Ali and Mohita Mitra also. First of all, Barkha, let me clear you one fact. These are not review petitions, they are writ petitions.
Okay.
And Subhashini Ali has been led by one of the leading lawyers in India, Mr. Kapil Sibal. And let me tell you, Kapil Sibal on 2 occasions in these petitions made a very categorical statement when he mentioned first thing before the Chief Justice, the earlier Chief Justice, that he is not seeking review of the Supreme Court judgment of May 22. Please mark my words. Mr. Sibal made this statement when he was mentioning for listing of these matters that they are not challenging the order passed by the Supreme Court where they have said, please consider as per the policy of 1992. And then when the matter was taken up subsequently, again Mr. Sibal made the statement that all that they want to see, all that they wish to see is, was there any application of mind by the remission board authorities while granting them remission? So what does it mean? It means that till date, Subhashini Ali's petition, which is purely speculative, a stranger to a criminal jurisprudence, all they want to
What do you
see
mean by
was,
speculative? I've heard
I'll
you.
come
What do
to
you mean
that.
by speculative? Are you saying because
Yes.
she doesn't have any direct locus, she can't file the and 1 minute before you come to the legal argument, can you just please answer my question? You can criticize Subhashini Ali's petition if you so wish, but you have not responded to our ground report that shows these men are missing. Can I ask you directly? Are these men traceable? Do you know where they are? Are you in touch with them?
I answer this thing directly. They are
Yeah.
in touch with me. They are very well in their villages. They have no intention whatsoever to flee any state. You must have seen their homes. Do you think that they can go to Dubai? They can't even go to a state like Rajasthan also.
But
So
they are not
forget
in
this
their
thing. I have
home. But they are
instructions.
not in their home. They are not in their home. So can you tell us where they are?
Mainly because for the fact that your reporter happens to be on that day and they are not at home, you won't presume. That's what I'm saying. It's all speculative arguments,
It's not that
debates.
day. Their own families told our reporter that वो कुछ दिन से नहीं है. Some said यात्रा पे गए हैं, some said राजस्थान गए हैं. The neighbor
So,
said that we have not seen them for a few days.
So how does it matter if they have gone somewhere? So how does it matter? I'm saying so with instructions. I have wakalatnamas for each and every accused. In fact, we would be filing the wakalatnama, but at the moment, since we have not been served the copies of the petitions, so we can't file our wakalatnama because, as per the Supreme Court directions, they have to implead all the 11 accused as party respondents, which they did not do at the first instance. Now, let me come back to my first question, because why I'm saying so, it's a speculative writ petition. A, the criminal jurisprudence does not recognize a third party in a litigation. And just see what are the prayers made by the Subhashini Ali's writ petition. What they want is, please place on record the copy of the remission order. So which means they don't have the copy of the remission order, and yet they want to challenge a remission order without seeing
But,
any reason whatsoever.
but obviously the Supreme Court, I need to get Zakia in for a comment, but obviously the Supreme Court, Rishi ji, did not think that their petitions were infructuous, otherwise they wouldn't have given notices. But hang on, I don't want to make this a legal argument. I want to only a legal argument. Of course, it's partially a legal argument, but there is a public morality issue here. There is a women's rights issue here. Zakia,
I want to answer that.
Acha,
No,
ek
but
minute. Rishi, can I just get one comment from
No,
Zakia?
I want to answer that moral. I want, please, because
Okay,
there are lots of debate about so-called morality and
It's
rape,
not so-called.
rape convicts.
Okay.
No, I'll tell you why. I just want to ask all these panelists sitting here, and especially Subhashini Ali ji, who's a very senior octogenarian, that where were all these people when they were not given death sentence by the High Court or by the Supreme Court? For good 15 years, they were all quite happy. Bilkis Bano was very happy to receive 50 lakh compensation, a government accommodation, and a government job. All these people were happy. All these people were happy.
Well, actually, her husband said that she has not got her accommodation. 1 minute. She has not got her accommodation and her job according to her husband, Yaqub. That's point one. Point two is, I don't know whether Bilkis Bano was happy. The Supreme Court gave exemplary compensation in a case heard by the then Chief Justice, Justice Gogoi himself.
Yeah.
Right? This is the Supreme Court. So if you disagreed with that, you can't take that out to Subhashini Ali. It was a three-member bench of the Supreme Court.
Right? What I'm trying to say is, why there was no hue and cry when the death sentence was not abolished?
Okay,
please answer this question.
Hang on. Okay, we'll come back to that. I want to come back to what we are focusing on, Zakia, Soman, that Rishi assures us that he's in touch with these convicts. I am telling you from the ground, the neighbors, the relatives, they're saying, हमें नहीं पता कहाँ है. Maybe the lawyers have advised us कि आप थोड़े दिन भाई चुप रहिए, किसी से ना मिलिए, किसी से ना बात करिए. But I am cynical. I have seen terrible things happen, with women in crimes, and I don't know. Even if the Supreme Court decides to intervene, ये मिलेंगे, नहीं मिलेंगे. Zakia, what's in your heart today?
Yeah. So I feel, looking at the Mojo report, ground report, the ground is quite fertile for subversion of justice, and it began with this whole remission. I have nothing against remission per se, but remission to mass murderers, remission to rapists, remission to those who have carried out crimes against humanity. It is wrong in IPC, it is wrong ethically speaking, it is wrong international law wise also. And Rishi ji, we didn't ask for death sentence because we don't believe in death sentence. We believe in people being punished for their crimes and people undergoing reformation and carrying guilt and remorse and apologizing and undergoing a change of heart, Rishi ji. We really believe in that. Please believe that. Because there is a system, of ecosystem, towards, it appears like there is an ecosystem of subversion of justice, and it is evident from the opacity of this whole matter. There is an opacity about the outcome of the remission committee. The order copy has not been given to Bilkis. Nobody has seen what were the views of the individual members who sat on the remission committee. And as citizen of India, and as a woman citizen of India who works for gender justice, it is the right of every woman and every man also indeed to have a copy, to know what is there in the remission report. I need to see whether these men have undergone a change of heart, whether they have transformed in these 14-year period and they are really repentant towards the grave crimes that they
and Zakia, I'd like you to talk about how, when you saw the Mojo ground report, you felt that the ecosystem is fertile for that subversion. Now, Rishi Malhotra says, Vakalatnama hai, sab maujood hai. But we have seen this over the years. People just kind of vanish into the system. It's not that the Gujarat police is necessarily going to expend resources to find these men, should it be necessary, Zakia.
Yeah, because they have been given very good treatment. I would say they have been given royal treatment even when they were undergoing the prison term. They have been coming out on parole regularly for small functions in their family. And they have been shown the kind of extraordinary compassion and consideration by the state. The state which has not bothered to sort of really find out how Bilkis is doing, how she and her family are coping. And this is a very wrong message to all the women of India who undergo sexual violence. It is a wrong message that the rapists can get away by serving a 14-year term. It is a message which will really embolden the rapists. So it's about Bilkis, no doubt. It is about Bilkis and her family, but it is about all the women of India. And the answers are being sought by all of us because we are concerned about women's safety and women's security, and the outcomes of sexual violence against women and crimes against humanity such as mass murder is something we eagerly look forward to as citizens of India. So I don't agree with Mr. Malhotra, with all due respect, that what is the locus of all these people. My locus is that I am an Indian and I have a right to ask for justice in my country. And when something wrong has happened to my sister, why cannot I speak out on her behalf? Because
And
she
Mr.
has
Malhotra,
fought it alone for the last 20 years. It's incumbent on all of us, even on you, Mr. Malhotra, as a lawyer and as a member of the legal fraternity, that you serve the ends of the justice and not hide behind technicalities such as, that what is the locus of these people who have filed a PIL now.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. And I want to say one thing to you, Mr. Malhotra. I know that every lawyer's duty is to his or her client, and I respect that. Even Ajmal Kasab in this country got a lawyer. So I have no disagreement with, your decision to choose this brief. But when you make a public statement saying Bilkis Bano happily accepted her compensation, that compensation was given to her in 2019. She was gang raped in 2002. She changed homes for 20 times. She was on the move. Even today she's had to go into hiding. That accommodation and job that you spoke of, her husband Yaqub said that didn't happen. Even if it had happened, it doesn't change the fact that these men have been convicted for her gang rape when she was pregnant, the gang rape of her mother, the gang rape of her two sisters, and the murder of a 3-year-old daughter Saleha. Let us remember the Bombay High Court gave concurrent multiple life sentences, 3 if I'm not wrong, not a single one. So when you say she received her compensation happily, I would urge you to reframe your words. Let me now bring in your response. Do you assure us, and through us the audience, that if the Supreme Court should need these men to be sent back to prison, they will be available? Do you with responsibility assure us of that, Mr. Malhotra?
100%. In fact, again the same thing. If I really don't understand what Zakia just mentioned, that they were never asking for death sentence. So I just want to ask a question to all the panelists. Will you be happy if they would have been released after 20 years, 25 years, maybe 50 years? Because you can't frame our timelines. It has to be the policy which is applicable at time of conviction. And at that time, the policy said 14 years on. Despite this, you say there is special treatment given to them. They were released after 15.5 years actual sentence. So if there were to be any special treatment, they would have been released in 14 years time itself. So I really fail to understand why.
But sir, we don't have the remission order. We don't have the panel's report. The 11 log, just say, by the way, I want to tell you 80% were men. So 80 on a panel, 80% men decided what should happen to a rape survivor. Sorry, but it doesn't sit well with me. Secondly, one of those men tells my colleague कि वो संस्कारी है, ब्राह्मण है, पता नहीं guilty भी है या नहीं. We don't have the report. We don't have the remission order. Do you not acknowledge, Mr. Malhotra, that there is absolute opacity, as Zakia Soman called it? आपके पास है? Can I ask you? Bilkis Bano says she doesn't have a copy of the remission order. Do you have a copy of the remission order, Mr. Malhotra?
I will get it, but let me tell you on instructions, candidly, that if you're saying there were 80% men, please don't forget there were 2 judicial officers, one the rank of district and session judge, and other was district magistrate. And also there was an opinion sought by the concerned trial court judge about the release, which is the requirement under the rules. Every judicial officer,
under the rule, it also says that the central government has to give its approval. Are you aware whether the central government has given its approval or not?
Absolutely taken under section 435 CRPC.
You are saying the central government has given its approval?
Please record my statement. I'm making this statement with full responsibility. The central government concurrence as required by law was taken. So given all this scenario, I put my question to myself that if all the requirements under the policy, under the provisions of Code of Criminal Procedures were taken out, they have served more than the desired sentence of 14 years. In fact, here it was a case of 15 years actual sentence. They have a right to be reformed and rehabilitated.
I just want to take this statement on record because it's the first official confirmation we have that the central government approval as mandated under the 1992 law was taken. Mr. Malhotra, can you reconfirm that?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So both the consent of the trial court presiding judge and the consent of the central government was taken. You are saying that with all responsibility.
Yes, and
Okay.
I believe when the state government as well as Union of India would file their affidavits, this thing will be on record.
All right, that's a very, very important news point that is coming from Rishi Malhotra, the lawyer for the convicts. Subhashini, you're wanting to come in, and then Zakia. Subhashini, go ahead, Subhashini. Unmute Subhashini, please. Yeah.
See,
Can't hear you.
the judge, Mr. Salvi, who sentenced these 11 people, is on record saying that he doesn't agree with the remission given to them, and also that he was not consulted.
But he's
He's
not
on
the
record
present.
saying this.
He's not the present judge. It needs the consent of the present judge of the trial court, Subhashini. I think
No,
Rishi's
no,
agreeing with me.
no,
Okay,
I don't
the
think
Supreme
so.
Court will
I don't
decide
think
that. I
so.
think the more important point is that Mr. Malhotra has confirmed that the central government gave its approval. The central
Has
government
given
has
its
been
consent,
absolutely
yes.
silent. Has been absolutely silent. This is the first such confirmation we have
Yes.
from the lawyer for the convicts, Rishi Malhotra. Would you like to respond to that, Subhashini, and then Zakia? Okay, I think Subhashini is not on a great line. Let's bring in Zakia. Zakia, your comments?
Yeah. So, Mr. Malhotra, as per my understanding, the center's guidelines on remissions are quite clear. It excludes rapists. So has that
This has been
now
done. Let me explain that. The new guidelines
That is
exclude
an
rapists. This has been done under an old law, Zakia. But the central government was silent so far. That Mr. Malhotra is now confirming that under the old law, that consent was sought and it was given. Zakia, your thoughts now?
Because they've served for 15 and a half years, so now there'll be so many convicts all over the country who are serving life sentences in murders or in rapes or in other heinous crimes. So is the remission now onwards going to be for all those people? I don't know what kind of precedents we are setting. I'm really not sure what kind of message are we giving. So then we might as well abolish the life sentence from our jurisprudence totally, because if this is how we are going to let off the culprits after they serve once they finish 14-year sentence. So it really makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
It's not about the legal technicalities here, Mr. Malhotra. It's about the ethics. It's about the morality of this whole thing. That a ghastly crime has been committed, and a woman, she's fortunate or unfortunate to be alive after that crime, which was committed on her and her family. And here we are letting off, while she is still to come to terms with her life, we are letting off the culprits. The state is showing all compassion and all mercy towards the culprits, whereas nobody cares from within the state. Nobody cares for the survivor. That is my biggest.
And I agree with you, Zakia. I do have to close. Mr. Malhotra, final question to you. I first have to thank you because there's been complete opacity about whether the present presiding judge of the trial court consent was sought, as well as the central government. You are confirming that this has happened. Are you saying that then in the Supreme Court, the central government will have to put on record that this consent was sought and given? You're confident of that?
100%. Because you see, I, as a lawyer, and for last 25 years in Supreme Court, I am more officer of the court than a lawyer, personal lawyer for anybody. When I see a case, I have to see all the parameters have been laid down. And please, I just want to add, don't mix emotional with legal absurdity. As simple as that. In Nirbhaya case also, please don't forget, the most barbaric accused turned out to be juvenile. So what happened to that? After 3 years, he was let out because of Juvenile Justice Act rules which were applicable at that stage. Then the act got changed and they amended the act and said that in case the person seems to be an adult, he could be tried as an adult. But then, of course, the law which is amended subsequently cannot be applied retrospectively. The same thing applies in remission policy also. A policy which is framed in
Well, Mr.
2014.
Malhotra, wholesale remission where the reasons have not been shared with the country. Maybe 1 or 2 people had pressing circumstances at home, were ill, were not well. A wholesale remission of 11 people. I mean, I don't think I have ever seen anything like this. Have you, Mr. Malhotra?
You will come, and please don't forget, not only these 11 people were released on that particular day, there were 70 odd people released from Gujarat jail. So please don't seclude them that these were the only 11 persons released on that particular day.
Well, I will have to end here, but you said don't be emotional. I think if you think again of the barbarism, what the Bombay High Court called a massacre, the fact that this girl, that her 3-year-old daughter who was smashed, whose head was smashed with a stone, her body was not found, mother and daughter made to watch each other being gang raped. If I'm not emotional, I think I'm not a human being. But we will now leave this for the Supreme Court. We have Rishi Malhotra's assurance that these convicts are not missing. They will be produced before the court if required. He urges us to not place that if. Subhashini Ali, the next hearing of your petitions is going to be critical. So let us see how the Supreme Court responds. Zakia, Soman, Subhashini Ali, Rishi Malhotra, and earlier to Shobha Gupta. Thank you to our audience. We continue to speak up and follow this story through. Keep watching the Mojo Story and see you tomorrow. It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.